Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Best of Plugin Roundup for July through December of 2022 here on iThemes Training. My name is Nathan Ingram. I am the host at iThemes Training, and I am happy to be here because it's this time twice a year where we take a look back at all of the plugin roundups over the last 6 months, and we take your picks. So you folks vote the best ofs at the end of every plugin roundup. We take your votes, and I do tell, hey, these votes count for things. And so we remember the best 2 or 3 or 1 plugin from the roundup, whatever we think. And we pull all those together into a best of every 6 months. And so we've got about I think there's 11 plugins. I dropped one because there was an issue since we demoed it. So there are now 11 plugins from the best of. And as promised last week, it is the last plugin roundup of the year, which means it is time also at the end today for the iThemes Holiday Plugin Power Pack. So you can completely trash your website. So we will be ending with that today. But if you are just joining us in Zoom, make sure you have the chat open. Therein, you will find the link to the handout and the replay, which are there. If you're watching this on the replay, click the download handout button down below, and you can, download the handout. Go figure. All right, so let's get started. We've zoomed all the way back. We jump, it can sound like a radio guy, right? Like jump in the Wayback Machine and head way back to July 2022, way back when it was warm and sunny in all of the places and not filled with the Arctic air that many are experiencing. And we go to July 2022, and one of the top plugins of the summer, I really like this one, is Error Log Viewer by BestWebSoft. Now, what we did not anticipate is just how helpful this particular plugin could be as you are dealing with upgrading your WordPress sites to PHP 8.0. Many of you have discovered just what a problematic thing that can be, because many themes and plugins are not yet PHP 8 compatible, even though PHP 7.4 reached end of life last month. So a good error log viewer can be helpful. So let's see how this one works and remind ourselves of Error Log Viewer by BestWebSoft. So let's go. I'm having arrangement issues here. Here we go. All right. So let's go into, and activate our plugin, which is super helpful to do. Plugins do not work until activated. Error Log Viewer right there. All right, now what this does is it's going to give us a UI. It's under, well, there's settings right here. That's very helpful. But it's under, it has its own menu item right there. Okay, so here in the settings, we can say which of the various error logs do we want you to monitor with the Error Log Viewer plugin. And now what's nice here is this plugin kind of scours through, the various things, or it knows based on what plugins you have active, where some of their error files live. So for example, here's our basic WordPress debug log, which is there. Here's one for Restrict Content Pro that it found. Here's several for WooCommerce WC logs that it found. So it goes and kind of looks for various things. And what you can do now is say, email me if you get a note if something happens, right? So if there's an error on the site, shoot me an email, which is kind of cool. So we can enable, or you can disable it if you want, which if you disable it, I'm not quite sure the purpose of the plugin, but so we can send email notifications to a custom email that we can enter in, or we can drop down a list of users from the site and send it to whatever user is associated, or whatever email address is associated with that particular user. And then this is a really cool feature down at the bottom. We can change the frequency at which these emails are sent. So it doesn't send them in real time. It sort of batches them or digests, puts them into a digest where we can say, just let me know once a day or show me once a week the errors that I'm collecting. It just depends on what you want to do. And so do it, save it, boom, done. And you will get an email. That was interesting. The user's not sticking. I'm not sure why that is. Well, we'll just go back to this. That's odd. Not sure if that's a weirdness related to WP Nathan or if it's something in the plugin. So just specify your email, I suppose. I don't think that turned up the last time we looked at this plugin. But yeah, email notifications, pretty helpful. Let's see. All right, let's back up and catch some questions. Really good questions here. Paul, is the plugin PHP 8 compatible? Great question. I'm going to guess that it is, but I don't know. You should test that, right? And so let me just remind you the disclaimer that's at the top of the plugin roundups now. Like, it's not like, let me just set the record straight. It's not like we spend hours, vetting all of these plugins fully. We spend a little time with them. They're kind of cool. They work. They do what they say they're going to do. Yeah, we'll put them in the roundup if they're interesting. But you'll want to test this one. We haven't tested to see if it's PHP 8 compatible or not. It doesn't look like anything blew up when we activated it, so that's good. Another question here. Vern is asking, what about custom SMTP settings? Yes. So this is with any site. Never, in my opinion, never trust just the server to send your email. You always want some sort of transactional email delivery service. I recommend SendGrid. Pardon me. Wow. Banish that from my mind. I recommend Postmark. Postmark is fantastic. We talk about that in other webinars. Yeah. So let's see. Paul is asking, are these true errors? So what happened? Yes. Whenever something is added to the log that you've check marked, it's going to drop that in an email to you. Yeah. And Chris, as we realized earlier this month, I made the final decision this month. We are going to kill dead the current iteration of WP Nathan before the next plugin roundup and rebuild this thing from scratch, because it's not like there's a lot there anyway, but this site has had more plugins installed and tested than any site you could ever imagine. And it's just tired. It's time to retire this one. Yes, Heather, I'm just trying to get out of being blamed. I'm just being real, right? Like, give me a break. Okay. John, will you get an email even if PHP 8.1 blows up the site? PHP 8.1, I mean, it depends on what you mean by blow up the site. WordPress will function under PHP 8.1, although WordPress itself isn't fully compatible yet. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's that. Pretty cool plugin. This was like far and away the biggest vote in July. Let's scroll on down to the next one. Another one from back in July, which is it's an innovative plugin that I think in certain cases could be super helpful, and it is called Admin Posts Grid. So let's go in here and do some things. Like, first of all, deactivating this plugin, because we just don't take anything for granted on this version of WP Nathan. Let's see, Admin Posts Grid. So what this is going to do, it just gives you a new UI into how your posts look. And so what's really helpful with this is, like, when you, if you've got a site that is super posts heavy, you got a lot of posts on the site, and you want to give people an easier way to kind of flip through what's there. This is all on the back end. This has nothing to do with the front end of the site. This is all an admin user interface change. Notice right here, you've got a new admin item called Posts Grid. We click that, and look at this. We have our posts in this nice little grid, almost like a grid that you'd see on the front end of the site, but this is it here on the back end of the site. And you have lots of different options, how many columns we want. We can apply that. So this goes to 3 columns here instead of 4. We have access to all of the tools here. But the quick edit pops up in like a little light box, so you can make changes there and update it. Like, we can put this in a category and update it. And just with Ajax, it takes care of that without having to do a page reload. Pretty cool. We can also turn on other things here. Like, if we want to see author and category, we can do that. Hit apply, and that'll show up here on the cards. Now you can turn on and off what appears, basically. How many, just set your pagination here. It also has some basic themes. This is just very simple visual themes. I just changed the color, basically. That's it. So, I mean, it doesn't do a lot, but if you've got like a magazine site or a site with it's a straight blog site, having this view of your posts, it's kind of cool. And that's why it was voted a best of back in July 2022. So that's admin posts grid. Yeah, great. Any questions or comments on that one? It's kind of cool. All right, moving on down to the third plugin from July. This is a plugin we're starting to use now in our base stack. It is called Accessibility New Window Warnings from Equalize Digital. Now, Equalize Digital is the company that is run by Amber Hines, who we had earlier this year on our accessibility bootcamp. She's a recognized expert in the WordPress community around accessibility, and their business Equalize Digital has some really cool tools. And this is a free plugin that helps to solve an issue when it comes to new windows. So whenever you do a target equals blank, or you set a button or something to open in a new tab, that is an accessibility problem, because if a person is using a screen reader or some other sort of assistive technology, particularly if someone who is visually impaired and they're using a screen reader, when a new tab pops open, they get lost. Like, they don't know a new tab popped open. And so it's best practice not to use new tabs at all. But if you must, you really need to mark those links appropriately to make sure that people are using assistive technologies are informed that it's a new tab. And really, I've kind of gotten used to seeing those links. Like, it's nice even for me knowing that if I click this, it's going to open a new tab. So let me stop talking about it and actually activate the thing. There are no settings. It just kind of works. Let's deactivate this. Let us activate new window warnings. And what you will see is now here on the homepage of WP Nathan, you'll see what it does. So right here, you'll notice a new little icon for open up a new tab has been added to these two links. Both of these links are a target equals blank. Right there, you can see target equals blank. And what this plugin does it actually does three different things. The first thing it does is add this little icon beside any link, or if it's an appropriately created button, meaning it's a button that, it's not like a div that with an A in it, and not like a real button. It's an actual button here. It adds the little icon. Second, you'll notice it puts that tooltip out there. This opens in a new window, which is helpful. But also it gives it an ARIA label. So the ARIA label, look at this. It pulls in the actual text of the link. So ARIA is what the assistive technology is going to read. So if I was digesting this page in a screen reader, the link would say, go to Google, opens a new window, which is exactly what you want the screen reader to do for a person with a visual impairment. And it's the same thing here with this button. This is a button, opens in a new window, right? So that's all you do. It's an activate. Now, something that you do need to be aware of is that it's going to do this on any link on the site. Now, so where I've had an issue is, let's say down in the footer area, we got some social icons. Well, it's going to put in one of those new tab icons there. So you may have to go back in, if you don't want that, for example, you may have to go back in with CSS and turn that off. Just at least the icon part. It will still show the tooltip, and it will also put the ARIA link in there. So let's see. Phoebe's saying it is possible not to show that icon. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it's really simple, actually. It's very basic CSS that does this. So here's the it's just an AWW, ANWW external link icon. So, you could, like for me in the base site where we're using this, we have some dropped in social links just there for us to use later. I already have CSS that's applied to the footer for those social links that makes them not show the icon. Now it does get the ARIA label, and it does get the tooltip. And so that's good. Anyway, so that is a really fantastic plugin, super light, accessibility new window warnings from our friends at Equalize Digital. Paul says the icon shows up only target equals blank links. That's correct. Yeah, so it looks at links that are target equals blank. And yeah. Ben is saying, why isn't this in core? It's a great question. There's a lot of things that we find useful that ought to be in core, maybe, or whatever. It's a debate. WordPress core at the very basis is not opinionated about how your site ought to display things. That's what themes and plugins are for. Okay. Next up down the list is an interesting plugin called Jumper. So Jumper, we've seen a lot of these types of plugins over the years on iThemes training that have some sort of like a modal slide in. This one's really one of the easiest to configure and use. So let's activate Jumper. And Jumper is going to give us a new admin link right here. And so here's a preview of what the Jumper little slide out looks like. We have a bunch of options. You can say, I want it to, like you can turn off pages that you don't want it to display on, for example, or you can say, I only want it to display on these pages, only show it to logged in users. Do I want, there's some advanced features where you can add some stuff to the links. Is it going to disappear on escape, which is really helpful, especially if you're using, if you don't have access to a mouse and you can't click that little X, then you can hit the escape button on the keyboard if you're just navigating by keyboard and the window will close. The ability to change what is there is super helpful. So here's our button, for example. There's a horizontal button. There's also a vertical button where it goes that way. You can do an icon button with tooltip. So it looks like that. How big is it? Big. Is it square, rounded? Is it a circle? Like so. What do we want to call it? What's the icon right there? So all these things are changeable. You have access to all the colors. You can add your links for social networks. Here's the place where you can actually deal with the blocks. So there's our logo block, and all these things are changeable. This is left over from the demo when we dropped in the iThemes logo. You can change the logo width. You can put links. It does have responsive view. Let's say we want to put the heading block above that. It's just a simple drag and drop. That's going to update us over here in a second. See how that works? Really easy to deal with and use. It's just a nicely done plugin. There's our social networks block. Any of those social links that have a URL under this tab get an icon. So all these are pretty cool. So what does it look like on the front end? As we refresh the page, here's our, oh, I didn't save it. Oops. All right, so there's our, I'm not getting that icon for some reason. Not sure why that icon's not displaying. Oh, wait, I do know, because earlier when I was tinkering around, I turned off the font awesome. Let's turn that back on. If you're loading font awesome else, it does use the font awesome for these little icons. If you're loading font awesome someplace else, you don't have to load it again. There it is. Okay, so when I click this, boom, there it is. It's kind of cool, right? And I can hit escape and it goes away. Put all kinds of stuff here. How does it look on mobile? Basically exactly the same. But you do have those options to deal with the viewport here. So you can see it in mobile and move things around if you want to. It's pretty cool. Easy to use, easy to configure. That is Jumper from Combar. Any questions or comments about this one? Oh, Vern, this is a great question. So all the plugins on the Plugin Roundup are in the WordPress plugin directory. So you'll see the links to them right here. Many of them do have pro versions because that's how plugin developers monetize their work. But to be in the Plugin Roundup, it has to be a free plugin. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there's one other thing that's really cool that I do want to show you, and that is under button. There's a really cool. So if you don't like the side button, like Jan was just saying, I agree. I'm not a big fan of this, although this is a pretty good implementation of the strategy. Look at this. You can click remove the trigger button and instead put in like an ID of a button. Now this menu item 5874 happens to be the contact link in the menu. This is left over from last time. See there, 5874. So we're going to do this. So we're going to turn off the button, the little contact us button that was hanging on the side, and we're going to make it instead trigger on a menu item. So if I refresh this, what you'll see is this is gone. And now when I click contact, look at that. Isn't that cool? So if you like the idea of the slide in modal like that, but you don't like the hang off the side button, you can, I mean, anything that you can add an ID to, any, a button in content, sort of, like that, it'll just make it pop in. Isn't that cool? Yeah. All right. So that's Jumper. That's why it was on the best of list. It is quite cool and easy to use. All righty. Moving next down the list into August 2022, a really cool plugin. We've done y'all, over the years, we started Plugin Roundups in 2014. And we've done one every month since I think it was July 2013. And we've had so many plugins that do something with customizing or removing or with the admin bar. This is definitely one of the best. It is called Admin Bar Fix by Cubic. Let me deactivate that. We will activate Admin Bar Fix, and this does some things. So under Tools, I think, isn't it? For Settings, Admin Bar Fix, under Settings. All right, so here's our options. Super helpful. So hide the front end admin bar for the following roles. So if you're on a WooCommerce site, or if you have a site that has subscribers, I don't want the admin bar showing up, like the black admin. I mean, who wants that, right? So you can turn it off per user role. You see all these roles that are, and then you can even hide certain items from the admin. So the WordPress logo, the site name, the customizer link, if it's up there, comments, all the stuff that are links in the admin bar, you can choose to hide those. Now, that's not by role. That's on for everybody or off for everybody that can see the admin bar. You can also set, let's just say, I don't want to see the admin bar if it's on a mobile screen. So I could say anything that's less than 768 pixels, then don't show the admin bar. So that's kind of cool. Let's do that. Let's just show that, shall we? So here's the admin bar. And when we get to, whoop, look at that. Now the page doesn't know that it disappeared, but if we reload, not sure why that's happening. Getting a little issue there. Not sure why. It still thinks it's there. That's probably an issue with this site. One of the many things about this site that's broken, but you can set a threshold. Kind of cool. Let's see. So a couple of other things that you can do is you can change the way the admin bar works. So we have the option here for making admin bar a floating ghost, and you have some various animation and settings and opacity. But when we set it for ghost, watch what happens. It just sort of, it's skinny little shadow here at the top. And when I mouse over it, it pops into view. That's kind of cool. There's also the option of a vertical admin menu, which just kind of freaks me out completely, but it puts it over here and then it disappears. And then there's also the option, let's see, it could be at the center, which puts it down in the middle like this. I don't know, that would drive me crazy. And then there's also the icon approach, which is kind of nice. It just puts a stuck icon right there at the top and it disappears. So it's minimal, but it's there. So it gives you some different ways to display, how the admin bar actually shows up. It deals with roles, pretty cool stuff. And that is Admin Bar Fix by Cubic. All right. Any other questions or comments about those? So that happened, the issue with the spacing at the top happened the last time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's probably the site. We're going to blow the site apart, rebuild it for a brand new year of WP Nathan. And the site that doesn't have 8 million rows in the database. Okay. All right, next up, we move into September 2022, and we have a really fun little plugin called SpamJam. SpamJam. So this has no settings, so it's really, nothing happens really when you deactivate this plugin, or when you activate this plugin on the back end. Let's deactivate Admin Bar Fix. Let's activate SpamJam. Now, what this does, again, no settings, but what it does is it adds a honeypot field to your comments and to your registration page. So if you're getting a bunch of spam comments, an easy way to deal with that is with some plugin that implements a honeypot technique. And a honeypot is basically a hidden set of fields that is not visible to the user, but is visible to a bot that's, filling out comment spam. And if it fills in those fields, then the comment is automatically considered spam because a real person wouldn't actually fill those things out. And it does that both on the WordPress comment form and on user registrations. And again, no settings, install, activate. It is super lightweight, like it's not loading a bunch of JavaScript and things like that. It just drops in something to, and I'll just show you what it looks like. We'll go to a blog post, which has comments like this one. All right, here, okay, here's our, now I'm logged in. Let me actually do this in a not logged in view. Okay, so here's our comment block down here at the bottom of the post. And if we jump into the inspector, I realize this is really small type, but it's the inspector and I can't help that. Look right, let's just, okay, so here's our form and all the things. And look right down here, it's hidden. There's a display none paragraph with class required. That's going to start to trick the bots, and they got to deal with it. They need to do what's in here. There's our label, and there's 3 different inputs right here. And if the bot fills in any of those fields with anything, oh, this is hidden. It's this field right here, email, right there. If anything gets put into that field, then the plugin is going to dismiss that as spam. And so no real user is going to do that. That's how a honeypot works, and it's super effective. And it's even with some modern spam bots, it's still really effective. And it's a no real speed issue and free, no settings, good to go. Sherry, do you use this only when you allow comments? Is it needed otherwise? No. So, well, it does protect the user registration field, so that's helpful. But if you are disabling comments, like on a typical site, for us anyway, comments are disabled, user registration is disabled. There's no need for this plugin. But if you have a site that uses comments or a site on which users can register, then this could be helpful. Melanie, does it work on the WooCommerce checkout? No, at least not yet. Not that I'm aware of. No. But that is SpamJam. We talked about it back in September. Any other questions or comments on that one? All right, scrolling on down the list to October 2022. This was one of my favorite plugins of the year. This is Goal Tracker, custom event tracking for Google Analytics 4. Now, it works with Google Analytics 4, which we all should start moving towards, because just about, 7 months, it's going, the old Universal Analytics is going to be retired. And GA4 is not nearly as bad as it used to be. There's still some development to go, but it's pretty usable. Like, we're using it on new sites now. It works great. There's a lot to like about GA4. If you are a member of iThemes training and you missed David Zimmerman in the Google Analytics Bootcamp, which was also in October or September or August. Anyway, it was earlier this year. David walked us all the way through how Google Analytics 4 works. And it was a great training. If you missed that, you should go back and rewatch it if you have a membership. By the way, if you don't have a membership, there's a 50% off of iThemes training deal going on right now. We just announced this yesterday. And you can find that at iThemes.com. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, so back to Goal Tracker, custom event tracking for GA4. Let's take a look at how this works, shall we? Goal Tracker. Okay, it's already on because I was messing with this right before we got started. All right, so here's what you do. You go in, you add your measurement ID here for your Google Analytics 4. You can, if you're using Google Tag Manager, you can put all that stuff in there. That's great. But really, here's the power. It's under this click tracking area where we can start to set up some custom events. Now, if you've ever tried to do this before, you would have to use something like Google Tag Manager and find the IDs of things and make all, and it gets really confusing and people quit a lot of times. This does all of that from within WordPress. So this is the click tracking section where when you add a custom event, you just give it a name, what CSS selector, so a class or an ID that it's going to key off of. You can add additional properties if you want, but just hit save. So here we've got a couple buttons defined. And if we just look at these, so anything that has a class of .tracked button is going to fire an event name called button1. And it's a CTA property that says click this button. Same thing for button 2. Now, how does this look on the front end? It looks, let me show you a page where we actually had these things set up. Very simple, couple buttons. These are just block editor buttons. And when we look down here under advanced, look, we just have classes. There's tracked button. And over here on this one, tracked button the second. Where did we get that? Right here. Tracked button the second, tracked button. We made up those classes ourselves just right there. And now every time one of these buttons is clicked, it shows up as an event in Google Analytics 4. Let me pull over GA4. And this goes back to before we did the training. It does take about 30 minutes for these events to show up in Google Analytics 4. So it's not live in real time, at least not yet. With GA4, it takes about 30 minutes for these to update, but you can note right here, like we got some, let me refresh this. We've got a couple of these, several of these events that have been tracked, right? So right there, it shows up. So think about how cool it would be to set up, goals on your contact us button or, whatever your cash register button is in the top area of your header, contact us, schedule an appointment, let's have a call, that sort of thing. And it tracks just right there. It just fires the event. This plugin connects that button to this Google Analytics report, and it works really, really well. So that is Goal Tracker. Any questions or comments about this? One of my favorite plugins of the year. Makes a lot of things useful. Okay. Moving on down the list to another plugin from October. This one is called Media Deduper. Media Deduper. And so this one's really helpful. And you may have noticed years ago when WordPress back in version, oh, no, I'm sorry, that's the wrong, I'm giving an intro for a wrong plugin. It's coming up later. Media Deduper is super helpful if you have a client that keeps uploading the same file all the time. How many of you have that? Like, have you ever gone into a website where you haven't been there for a while and you look at the media library and the client has uploaded 52 versions of their logo and they're all the same. They just uploaded another one. Or, it's their picture. And on the bottom of every post, they put their picture and they just keep uploading it every time, right? You got to love that. And this is where Media Deduper can be super helpful because what this does, let me get out of this. Media Deduper. Okay, now the first thing it's going to do, I just actually did it earlier, but it's going to want you to create an index and index your media. If you have a big media library, this might take a while because it's looking through all the media and finding duplicates. So we look here under duplicates. Oh, look, here are some, all of these are duplicates of each other. And so we have the ability to delete these. Pretty cool. So what this allows us to do is it reassigns duplicate featured image to the original image. So if this image, if you delete one of these dupes and it's actually a featured image, it will replace it with the original, which is super helpful. This is what's really cool. If you just activate this plugin, it blocks the uploading of images that are duplicates. Hey, there's already one of those in the media library. Isn't that cool? Phoebe, if the media is two different sizes, yes, it calls it a duplicate because it's comparing the two with like looking at the images. Like even if you look at these, this isn't showing the sizes, but some like this is a different size. No, it's not 600 by 600. The size doesn't matter as far as the duplicates go. It's the, how similar the images are to each other. Now, of course, you're going to want to back up your site before you do anything, right? Vern, how does it decide on the very first scan, which is the original one? Probably the date of upload is what I'm going to guess. You'd want to test that. This is one of the, we haven't tested this exhaustively again, but I would take a look at that and see. I mean, before you use any plugin, not just ones on this list, you're going to want to test it and make sure you understand how it works before you roll it out to clients or roll it out on your own site. But yeah, obviously make sure you have a backup because deleting is forever, especially in the media library. But this is going to be a really, really helpful tool to kind of weed through a lot of those sites that have lots of duplicates. All right. Other questions or comments about this one? After a couple of poor attempts, I finally got the slides to show up again in the chat. So if you're the handout, if you're looking for the handout, it is now in the chat for you. Jan, I don't trust WordPress to tell me whether the image is attached. Yeah, so yeah, that does happen sometimes. Sometimes it's hard to know if this is correct or not. I agree. Melanie, if you use the plugin that adds trash to the media library, does it put it in the trash? Yes. So if you, for example, from last month's premium course, you added the constant to your WP config that enables the media trash, then this would trash it. Yeah, it would not delete it permanently. Yep. Good point, Melanie. All right. Any other questions before we move on? That is media deduper. Moving down the next one. So this is one that everybody loved from last month. It is especially helpful for those of you developing with blocks now. It is called Find My Blocks. So wouldn't it be great to know I've used these certain blocks on these certain pages on my website? That's exactly what this plugin does. It doesn't matter what family the blocks came from, Cadence or some of the others, or just one-off block plugins. It knows, it will find all of them and tell you what pages or posts they are on. So let us activate Find My Blocks. And this shows up, I believe, under Tools. I left myself a note because I couldn't find it earlier. It shows up under Tools, which is a good place for it to be, I think. And look, here's a list of all the blocks used on the website. So let's see. An advanced heading, a Cadence advanced heading was found in 4 posts. I click it, and here they all are. Look, this one, it's used there 3 times in this page, 12 times in this page. We can edit our post right from here, and we can see all the places. Oh dear, why is this? Oh, that's a WooCommerce product. But why is it not in the block editor? It's really weird. Oh, you know what? This is left. This is left over from when we were playing around with Cadence ShopKit, and it was using Cadence blocks in the WooCommerce area. So that was a terrible thing to click, actually. Let's just go up to here's something with columns. There's rows. So anyway, you see how this works. It shows you very quickly, here's the blocks used on my site, and click those, and it shows you what pages or posts that they appear on. Melanie's saying she'd love to see that for page builders like Beaver Builder and Elementor. Yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. So that's Find My Blocks. Any other questions? Oh, this was, by the way, this was a user submitted plugin from Ben Bradley and Karen Green. Both of you found that plugin and submitted it to us last month. By the way, you can submit your plugins if you remember. Log in. Once you're logged in, click Suggest a Plugin, and there's a little form where you can submit your suggestion for one of the plugin roundups right there. All right. Vern is asking, what about its logs and history? So I don't think it is logging anything. Maybe it is. Let's see. It's actually using a query, it looks like here. I don't think it's logging anything. I think it's just querying the content, which means if it's a huge site, it might be a little slow to get this page loaded. I mean, there's even a filter here where you can filter things out. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so I don't think this is writing to the database. It's a good question, Vern. But yeah, I think it's a query that's pulling everything out of the pages post, etc. every time you load the page. All righty. Next up is independent analytics. This one took everybody by storm last month. I really like this plugin, y'all. So, for years, it was just kind of a given that you would add Google Analytics to your site. Like, it's just part of the process. We just add Google Analytics, right? Without even thinking about it, until a lot of these privacy issues started coming up, right? Google Analytics tracks a lot of personally identifiable information. And if you don't want, if you're in the EU, for example, where there are really strict user data protection laws, and it's getting more and more that way in the US as well, it's a real problem to use Google Analytics. So, what do? A lot of folks have gone to alternatives like Fathom Analytics, which is a great product. It can be a little pricey, but it's a great product. But here is a WordPress-based analytics solution that is the free version is incredibly powerful. There is a pro version that adds like event tracking and like WooCommerce tracking, that sort of things. But the free version does everything I think the typical website owner is going to want, which is how many people are visiting my site in a given period and what pages are they looking at. Like, that's what most people want to see, right? Just give me a number and, that's what I want to know. If you need more advanced analytics, you may want to look at the pro version or you go into Google Analytics. But this is a fantastic solution, especially in privacy concerned areas where it's not tracking anything privacy, and it's reasonably good analytics on the back end. So let me stop talking about it and actually show it. Oh, I have it live. So here is independent analytics. I turned it on a couple days ago just to get some more data in, and take a look at this. So I've only got let me back it up and see if we still have this year. See if it had data from before. It did not keep data from before. So when we deleted it, it was gone. Let's just do the last 30 days, or we could do the last 7 days even. So really nice UI here. All right, so there's our last 7 days. I mean, it's nicely interactive. How many visitors, how many views. Below here, we can see, oh, look, what did they actually view? So 7 people viewed the homepage. What is the URL involved? What is it, a page, product, well, whatever. We can sort here by the number of visitors. So what got the most visits? Oh, the homepage. What got the most views? Oh, the homepage. Or we can go backwards. What got the least views? This one, so really, really cool. Melanie, does it do live tracking? I don't believe so. It does today. Today is what you get. Yeah, so not a lot happening today. Real time is available in Pro, right there. Kind of cool. Campaigns these are the 2 big features, and WooCommerce. Campaigns is available in Pro, but super powerful. Let's see. There is a nice little dashboard widget as well that it drops it right there, just overall view right there in the dashboard. So you don't have to have Google Analytics if all you want is simple tracking. It makes the site, Google Analytics slows a site down because it's loading all that external stuff. Google Analytics 4 is a little better about speed, but if all you need is give me the numbers of people and what they see, this is an awesome alternative. Yeah. David, does it do email reports? No, this is all WordPress based. It's an interesting question, though, if that's going to be part of the Pro offering. I don't No. Oh, there is a deal. $5.99 for lifetime for unlimited sites with the early adopter version. My pro link isn't working, but I'm sure they'll give me a pro link from within the plugin. Lifetime for unlimited sites. Oh, it's gone up. Ooh, it went up a lot from when I just did it. Email support. Scheduled email reports are coming soon. So that is on their radar. Yeah. Good question. All right. Any other questions, comments about this one? Probably one of the best plugins of the year. Independent analytics. Good stuff. All right. Moving down the list to the big winner from last week in the December 2022 plugin roundup, and that is Depicter. Now, I know, yes, sliders have gotten a bad name over the years for good reason. Many sliders are incorrectly used to bury important information 3 slides deep in the hero area of the homepage. However, that doesn't mean that sliders themselves are necessarily a bad idea. And, I am adamantly opposed to putting the primary call to action for your website in the middle of a bunch of sliders. But let's say you have a product, or you've got, some, events that people are going to flip through, something to engage users to flip through content. People will do that. It's just not best in a hero area. So sliders aren't awful. They're used in bad ways oftentimes. And so all that to say, if you find yourself needing a great slider plugin, oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen a better slider plugin than Depicter. There's a pro version, but even at the free level, this plugin is absolutely amazing. So let me get this open for us. We just imported one of the demos. Depicter. And let's open it up. Here it is down here. All right. So we just dropped in this one. This was an imported pre-baked slider. And you have all these, like it's just like, using a block editor, a page builder. You just click in there and you can start typing. What you see is what you get. There's lots of, there's all kinds of options. Every option you can imagine is over here. It does not take very long to get familiar with the interface. You got hover, you got animation on various elements, like everything can be dealt with. Like you click things, go to your, all sorts of things here. This is what it looks like on the front end on this particular slider. It's beautiful. Now this is using a background image. Look at this. So this particular slider has 3 different slides. And there's arrows to control them, and you can click the different options here. And yeah, so we can click here and navigate with this beautiful transitions. And all these are just settings right there in the plugin, or you can just click the options here. Notice back here in the editor, you also have the ability to switch between viewports. So here's how it is on desktop, tablet, mobile. So you can define all of that and resize and restructure. So if we move this down to a mobile size, see how, let me refresh. It nicely resizes for us here. On mobile, this will actually swipe as well. Yeah, so this is a fantastic plugin. Obviously, this is really a design app for a slider. There's lots of details. There is a learning curve, but it's beautiful what you can make with this. So, obviously you're going to want to be aware of the weight of the assets, but some of the things that they do that are interesting is it lazy loads as much as possible. We noticed that, and it does add appropriate H tags where it gives you the ability to make these things heading tags. So for SEO purposes, it's better than most sliders. All right, so that is Depicter. Pretty cool stuff, right? Any other questions or comments about this one? Yeah, Paul, that's could be the classic case of the demo looks nice. How come I can't make my site look that good? I mean, yeah, we'll just import the demo and flip things out, right? Obviously, the quality of these videos makes a big difference in how the slider looks. All right. Moving down the list to delete unscaled images. This is also from last week. This is what I started to introduce earlier when I forgot it was the wrong plugin. So back in WordPress 5.3, WordPress made a bunch of changes to the way images are handled, and it instituted the maximum large image size of 2560 to prevent people from uploading those 10,000 pixel images from their cameras and that 10,000 pixel image showing up on your screen. That was a great thing. However, what many of us didn't realize was the default behavior of WordPress was to still leave that 10,000 pixel wide image in the media library. So clients could still upload those giant images, and gradually our backups started to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you've noticed how your site backups are getting bigger and bigger and clients are uploading images, it's because those original gigantic sized images are still floating out there in the media library. So what this plugin does is it goes through and deletes all of those. There are some image optimization plugins that have a feature like this. Like, for example, we use eDub on the agency side, and under tools, there's an option to do this, delete all of the unscaled images. This plugin just does that. It's the one little feature that it does, and it will go through and delete all those giant images. And if you've got a site with a lot of those, it will probably save a bunch of space on your server. So obviously you will want to make sure you have a backup, because deleting is forever in the media library usually. So make sure you're backed up, but this can go through and save yourself a lot of space on your server. So there you go. Paul, if a client sends you an 8 GB file and you resize it to be web friendly, who's responsible for maintaining the original photo? If a client sends me a photo, it usually goes in their client archive folder. I'll keep it. But yeah. David, not sure if you answered this last time, but it only deletes large unscaled images. If you have a small image that you scaled, it won't delete that. I don't know. You'd want to test that. So again, that falls under the caveat at the beginning of the handout. Just test it. You know, we haven't taken time to test that particular thing. Something you probably want to test though before you roll it out. Yep. Okay. That was delete unscaled images. Any other questions or comments about that one? Drum roll, please, because what is next? You folks have been waiting for all year long. I know that you have, because now it is time for User Toolkit. That was not what you expected, was it? Me either, because I forgot there was one more plugin. Let's do this one first. User Toolkit, which is User Toolkit, which is actually one of my favorite plugins of the year. One of my favorite plugins from last week. Boy, that was quite a lead up, wasn't it? User Toolkit. So again, this is a type of plugin that we've done over and over and over and over again in Plugin Roundup, things that do things to users and whatever. This is one of the best. I really, really like this. It is possible I might change in our stack user switching, which is the OG plugin for all, switching users over to User Toolkit, because I just like it that much. So let's activate User Toolkit so you can see what's going on. And all right, so it is active. We go to our user list, and you're going to see immediately a couple of things. The ID of the user is brought to the top. That's helpful sometimes when you're trying to determine visibility of things. Also, the date and time which they registered and logged in last are shown. You can sort by these things. So show me the last user that logged in. Boom, right there. And sort by the registered date. Really helpful, right? Also, right here, is this user active? Active, which means, let's just say I stopped liking Chris Malone, and Chris is on my naughty list. Well, I can just deactivate Chris, and he can't log in to WP Nathan anymore, which he'll say, thank God. Right? But what this does is it allows you to keep the user there until you make them active again. You don't have to delete them. So this is helpful, for example, in a situation where maybe in your base site, you want to have like a support, like a plugin support user that's an admin user that you can, how many times does support ask, well, can you just give us an admin login account? Sure. You just toggle it on and you can log in, right? And then when they're done, toggle it off. There's lots of times where this active user thing could be really helpful. So the other thing this does is it gives us the user switching. Now, I have to apologize because when we demoed this last week, the user switching didn't work. Remember this? The user switching didn't work. It caused some problems, like it wasn't showing up here, whatever. That was because we used a user to switch to that had been WP Nathaned. That's now become a verb for got really screwed up in some plugin roundup somewhere along the way, and it never got fixed. The user switching works perfectly. Right here, switch to. Now I'm Chris. Oh, wait, no, he's not active. I guess it doesn't matter. Okay, that's good. I thought I maybe had just broken. That would be like Ghostbusters crossing the streams. Anyway, you see it works. It works correctly. I've switched to an inactive user. I'm glad that didn't break things. But the user switching works perfectly. And the nice thing here is the developer of this plugin sent me a really nice tweet thanking me for reviewing the plugin and for featuring it. And then I messed up the demo, like we did it with the wrong user. So I definitely apologize to Derek here. It's a fantastic plugin. We've made note of that, and everything about this plugin works, and I highly recommend it. Like it is likely this is going to be part of my theme and plugin stack for every project going forward. Pretty cool stuff. Okay, that's User Toolkit. Any questions or comments about that one? Okay. Oh, Derek is here. Everybody say hi to Derek. Derek is the developer of this plugin. Derek, this is such excellent work. Really, really cool stuff. So everybody say hi to Derek. Derek, where are you located, sir? Where do you find yourself? We're glad you joined us, Derek. I'm big fan of the plugin. Really good stuff. Okay, so now from we're going to turn the page from a really well-developed plugin to some that are maybe not so well-developed, right? It is the time that all of you have been waiting for. No more tricks, no more delays. It is time for the iThemes training Plugin Roundup Holiday Plugin Power Pack. Now, Vern, it is 2:00 Central, but we will always have time for the Holiday Plugin Power Pack. Drum roll, please. Just like Clark Griswold is connecting the lights, we begin with WP Snow Effect. WP Snow Effect. So if you would like to celebrate the holidays and you, with that celebration, would like to add snowflakes on your WordPress site, you can use this plugin, which we've given a mere Griswold level of 3. So if you're not familiar with this, this is from Christmas Vacation. Chevy Chase is Clark W. Griswold, who completely, covers his house with Christmas lights. And we have thus dubbed the award here as the Griswold level. Just how Griswold is this plugin. And we're going to start with WP Snow Effect, which is just a minor Griswoldian effect of 3. We will activate WP Snow Effect. And this made me laugh because left over from last year's settings is yellow snow. I'm going to say that it was Paul Taubman last year, and I think I'm right on this, who said, can we make yellow snow? And I said, sure. Why not? Because we have settings, right? Because if you're going to put snow on your site, you want settings. And right here in the flake color, you too can choose whatever color you want. I'm going to put that back to white just because there's a pro version for this plugin. You can change the number of flakes and make it just as snowy as you would like. Yeah, there we go. That's not distracting at all, right? So that is WP Snow Effect. I guess, this really, if we were being real here, this should really be a range of Griswold, shouldn't it? It should really be like from a 3 to maybe a 7, right? Because with 999 flakes, that's pretty Griswold right here. We'll go back to just a modest 30 because this is just a cute. This is, you can change the speed and so forth. Let's say, but just a modest, modest level. That's pretty. It's nice, right? Okay. All right. So moving down the list, then we're going to bump up a little bit. We're going to notch up our Griswold level from 3 to 5. And this is Xmas Lights. Now, many of you in the chat have talked about the Christmas Lights plugin. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this year, the Christmas Lights plugin was removed from the plugin directory because of a security issue or something happened. It is no longer there. It's no longer available to download. It is, Paul says it's not PHP 8 compatible. I'll be surprised if it was PHP 7 compatible. Anyway, there is something like it. It is called Xmas Lights, and we give it the Griswold level of 5. Let's activate that plugin. Xmas Lights. Now, by the way, to get the full effect, the admin bar gets in the way. So let's do it incognito. And here's our delightful little string of Christmas lights right there. Doesn't make the page title hard to view at all. Big deal. Who needs to read your page title anyway? There it is. It just hangs right off the header. And it's our old school bulb type Christmas lights right there. Xmas Lights, Griswold level of 5. Isn't that great? Okay, very cool stuff. All right, so let's go back in. I need to turn these off because, who knows how many issues we're going to have with things bumping heads. Not Derek's plugin, of course, but the next one, which is called Christmas Panda. Christmas Panda, a longtime favorite of the iThemes training community. Christmas Panda, a well-deserved Griswold level of 8. Christmas Panda, I give you, as soon as I find it. Christmas Panda. Okay. Christmas Panda is moderately absurd. It is under, where is Christmas Panda? Where does it hide itself? Hang on. Oh, it's right here. Okay, of course. It gives itself a top-level menu because why not? If you're a Christmas Panda, you deserve a top-level menu. So what do we get? We get to choose some holiday garnish across the top. So let's refresh our page and just see how delightful. Isn't that beautiful? Just puts itself right there on top of your page. Forget about your header. We're just going to take that priority. We're going to be right up there at the top because if you have a Christmas Panda, boy, it ought to be right there, right across. And you have several different options for that. You could also, do something like this. Top and is it going to be at the bottom? Save it. And then it just drops down at the footer if you want to do that. That's kind of cool, actually. Okay. Now, this one also has snowfall. So not to be outdone by just simply WP Snow, Christmas Panda says, we got our own snow here. We're going to take care of this ourselves. So we're going to turn on snow, I think. Yeah. Okay. So no options really. It's just you get snow or you don't. And the flakes are quite big, but they're pretty. Look at that. And then they move. They move like this. So it's a little bit of an upgrade on your snowfall. What else you get here are pop-ups, because who doesn't want a pop-up on your site? I hear pop-ups are great for all these things. So let's do a pop-up of, I don't know. How about I don't know, this one, just because why not? Bottom right corner. And it's really subtle, this pop-up down there at the bottom corner. Yeah, there it is right there. I mean, you barely even notice that, right? It's just subtle right there. Yeah, natural. It's just right there. And on mobile, it doesn't care about mobile. It doesn't care about mobile because if you have Christmas Panda, you don't need anything else, right? Yes, Tammy, it is classy. Classy, yes. Christmas Panda, everyone. Yeah, delightful. And if you want their other plugins, there's a link. There's a link there. Okay, now moving down. This is a new plugin for this year. A new plugin for this year. It is called Pimp My Site Christmas Edition. Now, there are some things that don't go together. Pimp My Site and Christmas. Those things don't go together. Now, oh, I forgot Happy Snowman. We'll come back to Happy Snowman. Pimp My Site and Christmas. Now, I will tell you, earlier today, Chris Malone and I were talking about Pimp My Site Christmas Edition. And here's what Chris said. He goes, does it move Santa across your sleigh in the lowrider with low bass notes playing? Like, man, that would have been the way to do this, right? Like a lowrider sleigh with like some thumping bass behind Jingle Bells going on in the background. That, yeah, somebody should totally do that. Derek, man, I mean, if you really want to make the Plugin Roundup, that's what you should do for next year. Derek's probably left us by now. He's got better, more important things to do. Okay, so Pimp My Site Christmas Edition. I give you Pimp My Site Christmas Edition. Oh my, where is it? Here it is. Okay, let's activate this. And by the way, yes, there is a pro version. Okay, Pimp My Site Christmas Edition. Now, I will say this. They did have the decency to put it in a submenu of settings. Pimp My Site Christmas Edition. Okay, now here's the thing. It's really not that bad of a plugin. So here's our default, and we'll refresh the page. And it just kind of, oh, we have snow still happening. Oh, this plugin gives snow. It's different snow. It also gives us a little holly bush as our cursor, which is, I mean, why not, right? There's other presets. And by the way, it does other, like you can Pimp My Site Halloween Edition down here too, but that's pro version. Because why not? Why not, right? Here's the Frozen version right there. If you want Frozen, there it is. And we can refresh. It just kind of puts stuff at the corners and on the center, and it floats little things down. My cursor is now an ice crystal. There's a bunch of different options here. You can choose the one that you like the best. Let's go to this one, and then we'll move on. So it's kind of cute, right? How does it work on mobile, you say? Because I know everybody's going to try this. It just makes things smaller. It also gives us a colored scroll bar, because why not? Okay, next up, the one I skipped, which is actually my favorite one here. This is what would happen if Microsoft Clippy and Olaf from Frozen had a baby. It is Happy Snowman. Happy Snowman is absolutely fantastic. It is the most useful holiday plugin of the year, I think. And I'm so happy that it is still in the WordPress plugin directory, still secure as always. This is Happy Snowman. Again, it's very subtle. Like you barely even notice that it's here. Yeah, there's our Happy Snowman. I think this is a must. I think everybody should put Happy Snowman on their site. Look at that. I mean, it's just great. This is what would happen, again, if Microsoft Clippy and Olaf from Frozen had a baby. Happy Snowman, I give you, with a strong and I think well-deserved Griswold level of 9 right there for you. Isn't that great? All right, folks. And topping the list, reaching the full level 10 of the Griswold scale is Christmasify. Christmasify. This one is Griswold in a box. It's got snowfall. It's got a moving Santa sled. It's got decorations. It's got music. And it's even got a holiday font, which I don't think it's holiday, but they call it that. So let's get rid of Happy Snowman and let's turn on Christmasify. CyberFox Christmasify. Because if you develop this plugin, you want your branding all over it. I mean, that's what I would say, right? Christmasify, of course, it gets its own top level menu item. Okay, so let's make sure we are clear here. I love the settings of this plugin. Do you want snowflakes? I want snowflakes. I want medium snowflakes, right? That's what we all want, is medium snowflakes. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, there it is. It just took a minute. Medium snowflakes take a minute to get started. Then they start blowing around. Look at that. But, I mean, look, if you're going to do Christmasify, we want beyond insanity, don't we? Of course, we want it beyond insanity. So let's take a look here. Oh my. Yeah, beyond insanity. We love it. We absolutely love this, right? But you know, this snow, which is beyond insanity, is just not classy enough for me. So I prefer my snow more classy. So let's turn that on. So we want classy snow here. We don't want just regular snow. We want classy snow. So apparently classy snow is round and fading out. So that's what classy is. And I kind of like that. Okay. So moving down the list, would you like a jingle in the background of your site? Would you like that? I think we wish you a Merry Christmas. How about that? Let's start with that one. And I don't believe I'm going to be able to turn on the sound because this microphone. But you just will need to go to wpnathan.com and turn this on, because it's going to come through my headphones. Let me see if I can turn that to desktop speakers here. The one thing about this background music is that now I think Google Chrome puts it a player at the bottom because it doesn't allow automatic. Yeah, doesn't allow automatic music. So there you have it, right? It's 8-bit. This is, we wish you an 8-bit MIDI Christmas is what this is. Yeah. As I recall, the Jingle Bells was slightly better. So Vern is asking, is it pretty lightweight music? I mean, let's put it this way. If you're putting Christmasify on your site, you don't care about the weight of the music. You want insane snowfall, right? Yeah, sorry, the audio is not going to happen really well here. But yeah, I mean, you know, lightweight music. I don't know. Is it in the public domain? I mean, if you have Christmasify on your site, you don't care about that. Would you like a flying Santa? Why, yes. A flying Santa would be awesome, I think. Where is our flying Santa? Where is he? Oh, look, there he is, right there. Here he comes, and he's waving. Isn't that great? How about that? How about this? Would you like Christmas decorations? Sure. Would you like Christmas decorations on your site? Of course we want Christmas decoration. Look at that. On the images, it puts it at the top. Now, it didn't work on these because they're like in a loop, and it didn't work on this for some reason, but on a typical image dropped on the page, it gives us a little decoration on the top. Isn't that interesting? Also, would you like Christmassy headings? This is the Christmas font, which for some reason, I guess this kind of a scrolly type font, which doesn't always work because of the block editor. I mean, I guess that's Christmas. I don't know. But that is our Christmasify absolute Griswold level 10. You can very much Griswold your site with Christmasify. And there it is. All right, folks. Who's ready to see all of them happening at the same time? Because that's what you all came for, is to see all the plugins active together, right? So why you've stayed for an extra 17 minutes. You'll never get these 17 minutes back. They're mine forever, but you chose it. And now I'm having trouble finding all the plugins. Let's see. There's one. And where's the other ones? Snow effect, Christmas lights. Okay, here we go. This might make things explode. Here we go. What could possibly go wrong now as everything loads all at the same time? Oh, it's gorgeous, isn't it? It's beautiful. We really should have had yellow snow. Wait, let's get some yellow snow. Let's get our yellow snow back. Oh, I had to look up what yellow was. Let me find yellow. There's yellow. So we'll have some yellow snow, just so that next year when we put snow back on, it'll still be yellow. All right, so here we go. Now we have some classy snow and some regular snow, and now we will also have some yellow snow mixed in, just for Paul Taubman, right there. Isn't that delightful? Aren't you ready for the holidays now? Really, really good stuff. Yeah, it's the music that really does it. So if you're watching this on your own, make sure you turn on the music and hit play, because I mean, it just doesn't get any better than this. Nothing says happy holidays like a WordPress site with yellow snow. You can quote me on that. Oh, I forgot, by the way, I'm wearing my Christmas, my ugly Christmas sweater. I'm really happy with this one, actually. So this is my Christmas sweater, if you can see it. This is the Christmas Story fight, and it's like Street Fighter with Ralphie and Farkas. And there's Schwartz with his tongue stuck to the pole. And yeah, so with that, I bid you a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, a happy Hanukkah, a happy whatever it is that you happen to celebrate this time of year. Wasn't that so much fun? Oh, yes. There we have it. The iThemes Training Annual Plugin Roundup Holiday Plugin Power Pack. And with that, we are going to wrap things up. All right, folks. Thanks for hanging out with me today. We are back tomorrow with something. Hear what that is. Oh, it's News Roundup tomorrow. News Roundup is early this year, this month, because of holidays. So News Roundup is tomorrow. If you haven't registered for that, make sure you do. And we do, by the way, have the plugin roundups and news roundups ready to go for next year. They are on the iThemes training page here. So just make sure you've logged in and you've registered for those. The plugin roundup for 2023 starts on January 3rd. And this is a register once, attend them all kind of a thing. I got that back set up again with Zoom. We had some issues with that. Yeah. So if you register for a plugin roundup, it keeps you on the list for every month following. The same for the news roundup. And for the question, let's see, Vern is asking about replay. You can watch the replays. Today's replay, I just dropped the link back in the chat. You can also, let me see what I can get once I log out of here. Okay, so if you go to, if there are limited replays, if you're not a member and can't log in, you can go to the free library. And let's see, did we put pagination? Yeah, we put pagination back on this. So just go back and you can scroll back. Like if you want to see the December plugin roundup, there's November right there. December is right here. You can rewatch these. The video is there. The handouts are there. Transcript, chat log, everything is there. So yeah, you can go back and rewatch. All right, Derek, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for your great plugin. Thank you, everybody, for being here for another plugin roundup. These best ofs are always fun. We've gone way over today. Hopefully, you've had some fun. I will see you back here tomorrow for a news roundup. We have some really good stories, actually, we're going to cover tomorrow back here on iThemes Training, where we go further together.